Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Made by Mumino Knitting podcast. My name is Kathryn and a huge welcome to you if you're new here and a welcome back if you've been here before. This is my little corner of the internet to talk about everything that I'm working on, any irresponsible purchases that I've made and all things yarn related. And today we've got quite a few different things to talk about. I've got my notes here and hopefully I won't forget anything. I always forget to talk about something, and then when I'm editing I sort of look back and think, oh gosh, I forgot to say the needle size, or I don't know, whatever. But yes, you can find me on Instagram as Mumino, on Ravelry as Mumino, and everywhere else as Made by Mumino. And thank you so much to the really kind people who have been supporting me on Ko-fi, and to anyone who liked and subscribed and commented on my previous episodes. I think it helps. I'm not really sure I understand how the algorithms on YouTube work, but I think it helps. Thank you so much for supporting my channel if you've done so. Okay, so today I'm back in Germany. I was in the UK for a couple of weeks staying with my family, but now I'm back home. So I'm filming today in Mönchengladbach, which is not too far from Dusseldorf, not too far from the Dutch border, sort of that kind of western area of Germany. And I live here with my partner, and I've lived here for quite a few years now, 7-8 years, something like that. And this is my permanent home, but I try and get back to the UK as much as possible to see my family and so on. So I've got a new blanket on the back of the sofa. I thought I'd go patchwork again. This is another beautiful patchwork that was made by my mum, and this was for a local pub actually near where I'm from in the UK. So I'm from South Wales originally, and the nearest villages to where we live, where I'm from, are Penderyn and Ystrfelder, so it's kind of just below mid Wales. And this is an example of traditional Welsh quilting, and it's all hand quilted. My mum made it as a wall hanging for a local pub that's sadly it's gone out of business, but hopefully they'll get some new landlords soon. But so this is made using traditional Welsh wool and pieced together, and then with this sort of really visible quilting over the top, and it's really beautiful. Mum wasn't sure what to do with it, so I saw it and I said, yoink, that's mine. So normally it lives on the back of one of the other chairs in the living room, but I thought I'd show it to you today. I've got some more of this wool fabric. I can't remember what the name of the mill is where it's made, but I'll put it down here for you. I have a lot more of this and in some other patterns as well, and I think I might make some matching cushions to go with it. I have been informed that it's quite difficult to work with, it's quite slippery, so I've been putting it off if I'll admit. But I'll get around to it one of these days. As I said, this is a podcast to talk about knitting and all things yarn related, but this is wool fabric, so it kind of counts, doesn't it? And it's really beautiful and lovely, and a lovely example of some traditional quilting. The first thing I'd like to talk about today is what I'm wearing, but as it's also an FO, I think we can go straight into finished objects. This is my finished winter Doodle sweater from Pacific Knit Co, and this was a test knit that I did for Jamie of the Pacific Knit Co, and I finished it last week I think, and did a little photo shoot yesterday. If you follow me on Instagram you will have seen the pictures of me wandering around looking awkward in the woods. By the way, if you can hear any external noise, normally I film on a Monday, but I'm filming on a Sunday today because I've got a really busy week coming up, and there are some little kids that live next door who are playing outside and just people doing normal things in the building, so apologies if you can hear any external noise. Anyway, back to this. I will put some video up here of me wearing it to save my knees getting up from this low sofa. But I'm super happy with this. I've talked about it in a couple of my episodes, so I won't spend too long on it. If I show you the pattern, you can see that mine looks very, very different from the sample on the front. So Jamie, the designer, she gave her testers free license to do whatever they wanted. Long sleeve, short sleeve, multicoloured, single coloured, whatever. and I went for quite a simple design with just snowflakes for my yoke. But there are so many doodles to choose from in this pattern. Most of them are sort of winter themed, so poinsettias, snowflakes, candy canes, Rudolph, reindeer, snowmen, all sorts of things. But there are also some more geometric patterns to choose from as well if you want to go for a bit more of a generic pattern. I really, really love the little fir tree motif that she has in here as well. It's really nice. So this is, I believe, her first sweater design. And the instructions in the pattern are brilliant. They really clearly tell you when to put the increases in, how to lay out your the charts that you choose, which size chart to go for depending on when your next increase is going to be, that kind of thing. So it's a really, really lovely pattern. So the basics, this comes in 20 sizes. I think a couple of episodes again I accidentally said 10 sizes and then put a little note down in the corner. But yeah, this comes in 20 sizes and it runs from, let me get this right, a circumference of 30 inches to 72 inches or 76 centimetres to 183 centimetres. So it's a really nice size inclusive pattern and very, very customisable. I went for the 9th size, which is to fit a 48-inch chest. So a, 122 centimetre bust. And I've ended up with, I measured it yesterday and I can't remember, I think it was about 8 centimetres of positive ease I've ended up with, which is about right because my gauge is normally a little bit bigger, weirdly, when I do colour work. For most people, I think their colour work tightens up. Mine definitely is always a bit looser for some reason, as you'll see when I show you my next project as well. The gauge is 24 stitches by 24 rows in a 4-inch 10 centimetre block, and I've got slightly higher than that, so I got I think 22 stitches and 24 rows. So it's my stitch gauge that seems to be a little bit bigger when I'm doing colour work. I think it's because I overcompensate. I'm afraid it's going to be too tight, so I kind of leave my floats quite loose. Yeah, so I think that's probably why it is. Anyway, the main fabric of this is done on a 3.75mm needle, which is a US 5, and then the ribbing is done on a 3.5mm, which is a US 4. I chose to do half twisted rib for all of my ribbing, just because I like the way it looks. I did a long tail cast on, and I did just an ordinary in pattern bind off for all of the edges, and I'm really, really happy with it. It's really nice. It's very, very, very warm. I knit mine in a I showed it to you in the last episode. If I got some here. I knit this in Norwegian yarn. So this is Vada from Hillersvåg in blue grey, and this is a DK yarn, and this is Peer Gynt from Sandnes Garn, and this colourway is beige, I believe. I can't remember what the number is. It's a secret. Oh, 2511, but I'll put all the details down below as well. So these are both DK weight yarns and quite rustic. This one is more rustic than this one. This I purchased when I was in Oslo earlier on this year, and it was supposed to be a jumper for my partner, but I kind of borrowed it. He did say it was fine, but I'm going to have to replace this at some point. And this goes really well with it. It is a slightly different texture. It is rounder, but I think it works really well in the colour work. And I bought this from my local yarn shop. That's run by the lovely Iris, and yeah, so I had fun choosing that with her. And that's that for the yarn, but it is a very warm jumper, and yesterday when I wore it out for the little photo shoot, I didn't need a jumper or anything on top. I was very comfortable in walking around in the autumn sunshine. So yeah. But other than that, I had no problems with this whatsoever. The only modification I made was I cast on a smaller size for the neck. A couple of the other testers had said that their necks had come out a little bit on the large side, and I didn't really want that, so I cast on for a slightly smaller size. And then in that first row where I did plain knitting, I just increased back up. Sorry about that. Noisy kids outside. Little pause there, I think. Yeah, where was I? So yes, that's the only modification that I made, was changing the neck size. However, I believe that Jamie, the designer, has modified the pattern based on the feedback from the testers. So I think she is reducing the number of stitches on the larger sizes for the neck. But yeah. Other than that, the pattern is lovely. It really is lovely. I like to have a slightly looser cropped cardigan sweater when I'm wearing it over a skirt or over a dress or something. So this is perfect. I need to remember when I'm knitting colour work, it always comes out a little bit on the big side for me. Even after swatching and everything, my swatch for some reason is always different to then the final knitted thing. I think it's because the difference between knitting flat and knitting in the round. I do make a swatch that's kind of, you know, when you make it so it's kind of in the round, so you leave the big loops at the back, but I often find that it comes out differently. It must be just the way I'm holding it, and the tension is just different. So I need to remember to cast on a smaller size. But I'm more than happy with this. It's really, really lovely and very, very warm. So yeah, this is the Winter Doodle sweater. It will be coming out at the beginning of November, I believe. It's I think Jamie said the 1st of November. And have a look at all of the other lovely versions that all of the other testers have done. Mine is super conservative compared to most of them. The colours are incredible. They're so beautiful. They're really, they're just the creativity of people, and the sort of playing with colour that's been going on is just fantastic. So have a look on Instagram at the hashtag Winter Doodle Sweater to see what the other testers have been up to, because yeah, it's really, really impressive what people have done. Speaking of which, I have an urge for colour in my life right now, but I'll talk about that later. Okay, so my second finished object are these gorgeous Gullsocken, I think that's how you say it, socks that I showed you last time. So last time I only had one. This time I have two. And I've blocked them. But as you can see, they're quite baggy. This is my first ever pair of Colourwork socks, and it was a real experiment in terms of needle size and gauge and how it was going to happen. As I said, quite often when I'm making Colourwork Yokes and that kind of thing on a longer needle, my gauge grows a little bit, and I thought that on a small circumference, everybody always says, you'll tighten up, you'll tighten up, you'll tighten up. So I went with the suggested needle size, didn't gauge swatch, and just went for it on a 3mm needle, which I believe is a US 4. And they've come out a little bit on the baggy side, if I'm honest. If I take one of these off, so you can see they've got a good amount of stretch and given them. I'm really happy with the way that that's come out, but they are quite long on me, and they are quite large on me. So I think that when I do Colourwork socks in future, I think I'll probably go down a needle size onto a 2.75, something like that, and see how I get on with it. I loved knitting these. I love colourwork. It's my favourite type of knitting to do. And there was something so satisfying about doing small circumference colourwork, because it feels like every 10 minutes you're changing the pattern. So it kept my interest really, really well without being too taxing. I loved doing this flea stitch all the way down. It's just super satisfying. I'm definitely going to make another pair of these. So this was a kit that I picked up when I was in Oslo. I'll show you the pattern. This is available online, and I found it on Ravelry as well, so I've put a link down below. The pattern is in Norwegian, but if you're confident with knitting socks, it's a chart, you can work it out. There are two different sizes to cast on, either a 64 stitch or an 80 stitch, but yeah, you can definitely work it out if you're familiar with socks. And I think it's a 16 stitch repeat for the chart going around, so I'm sure that with a bit of maths you can make it work for you. But yeah, I loved this. I absolutely loved it. It was a really fun pattern to do. So the kit that I bought came with this Arvetta sock yarn, and it came in this gorgeous mustard colour. Details are down below. And this really nice sort of cool marzipan colour. And I used just under half of 50 grams for this, and I got just into the second 50 gram ball for this colour here. So I've definitely got enough to make another pair of socks, as long as I go down a little bit with the gauge and maybe don't make the leg quite so long. This is the first time I've used this yarn as well. Oh my goodness, it's like butter. It's blocked out beautifully. I absolutely love it. A couple of things I might change if I'm doing the pattern again, just to make the yarn go a little bit further. I might do a contrast heel as well, and also a contrast toe. Or maybe my mum, because my mum and I knitted the same socks together. I'll put a picture of hers up here. She chose a slightly browner colour for hers, and she made a solid line around the toe, which was a really nice detail as well, so I might do that. The other thing I think I would change is, where is it? Yeah, when you're doing this line here, I think I'd add in an extra plain row before starting the flea stitch, just to provide a bit of differentiation between the two different sections. So yeah, I'm really happy with these. Definitely would make again. Definitely going to be going down a needle size, and to see if I can get a more satisfactory gauge. But yeah, really happy with those. They were really fun to knit, and yeah, so that's that. My last finished object, I won't go into too much detail about. I've shown it to you before. Another gift knit, another Musselburgh for another nephew. This one was made using the leftovers from a shawl I made for my partner earlier on this year. I made him a botanic shawl, and I'll put the details down here for you, because it's the Dutch brand of yarn, and when you say a CH in Dutch, I have been told, my partner's boss is Dutch, and he said it's like a sound, like in Welsh and in German. But combining that with the S sound at the beginning is really difficult for me, so I'll try it. I think it's I can't do it. I'm too embarrassed to get it wrong, so I'll just write it down here. It's fine. It's very nice yarn. All the details are down below. It's still available. And this is just a really fun little Musselburgh for one of my nephews. And yeah, so that's that. And I love having one of these in my handbag, because you don't really have to think about it until you're doing the decreases at the end. And yeah, so I usually have one of these in my handbag. Not now, at the moment, to be honest. But that's all of my finished objects. Okay, let's move on to WIPs. This kind of touches a little bit on my acquisitions as well. So I ordered some yarn from Nutiden, and it arrived while I was away in the UK. So as soon as I got back, I opened it up, fully intending to tuck it away in my stash until I was ready to cast something on. But one of the colours just spoke to me instantly, and I had to cast it on straight away. So I'd only been back in Germany for, I think, 24 hours, and my partner really kindly took me to a yarn shop that sells a specific kind of yarn I wanted to hold it with. Normally I try and buy things from my local yarn shop, but we went to Aachen because I know that they stock this particular yarn. And I have cast on the Dala Sweater by Eleanor Mortensen. I think I'll probably use this for my thumbnail. If I put a picture up here for you, you can see it's an absolutely delightful pattern with little Swedish style horses running around the yoke. And I saw this colour, I just thought this has to be a Dala sweater. So you can see the little horses starting to come there. Oh. So I cast this on with my nutiden that arrived. I can't wait to wear this. I've got so many other gift knits and things I would like to do that are on my list. But right now, this is taking all of my attention. I wish you could feel how soft this is. So the nutiden that arrived was this. Oh, it's just a really... I think Caroline from the company that makes this could describe this as high frequency raspberry, and absolutely. It's got little flecks of other colours and things in it, but it's predominantly that beautiful pinkish red that one would associate with raspberry. And I fell in love with this immediately, and I had to cast this sweater on. So normally when I knit with this, I hold it double. A couple of times I've knit with this, I've held it with mohair. And to be honest, even though you do not need to hold it with mohair at all for strength purposes, I just love the fabric that it makes. The part of Germany where I live just doesn't get that cold, and I find that when I knit with this singly but held with mohair, it gives the perfect amount of drape and warmth, and it kind of crosses over into being too warm when I hold this double. So that's the only reason I hold it with mohair. I'm sure that sort of some of the unspun purists would be shocked that I'm taking this beautiful a beautiful natural product and putting mohair with it, but I just really love the fabric that it makes, and it makes me happy. So I apologise if anyone thinks that that's the wrong thing to do with it. But anyway, as you will know if you've seen any of my episodes before, my favourite kind of mohair is Ito Sensei. And I looked around, my local yarn shop stocks Isaiah and Lang and Rowan. So I was looking at their colourways to find reds are funny. It needed to be the perfect red to go with this. So I looked at all of the different companies that are available to see what was the best. And honestly, Ito had the best colour match. If I have it here, it's this one here. And this is colour, I think it's 311, sorry, 311. And it just, look at that. It is pretty bob on, and it just brings that depth out a little bit when it's together. And I'm just in love with this. And the fabric that it's making, as I said, is just delightful. So this is getting a lot of my attention at the moment. But maybe once I finish the yoke, I'll put it down, because I think this is very much a festive sweater as well for me, and I think I'd like to wear this during the holiday season. So I think once I finish the yoke, I might put it down and focus on some of my other gift knits. And yeah, it's just so gorgeous. I'm in love with it. I didn't tell you about the contrast colour. So the contrast colour is something else that arrived from Nutiden, and this is the colourway Ornament. Look at the colours in that. It is stunning, absolutely stunning. So I should have said, I've got 300 grams of this, 300 grams of that. For my size, I have a 120 centimetre or 47 inch bust. That's enough. When I hold it singly with something else, 300 grams is enough for me to make a sweater. So I ordered 300 grams of this, 300 grams of this, also another colour as well, but I'll show you that later. And with that one, I'm holding this colour here. Now I wanted something a little bit paler, if I'm honest, but the paler colours had a cream or a whitish core, and you could see that really, really clearly. So when I was holding it together, I didn't want there to be these little flecks. I wanted it to be a more homogeneous colour. So that is what we're getting when those are held together, which I think again is pretty darn close. And I'm really enjoying knitting with this. Honestly, you do have to knit more carefully when you're knitting with unspun yarn. It can break, you can't tug on it. I think it helps that I'm a thrower rather than a continental knitter. I knit English style. And I also don't hold both of my colours when I'm doing colour work. I pick them up individually. I can normally do it quite quickly, but when I'm knitting with nutiden, it does slow me down a little bit. But that's just my personal experience and technique. I'm sure it's different for everybody. But I just really enjoy it, and the fabric that it creates is just, it's just gorgeous. And what happens then when you block it, if I pop that down a second, you've got all these floats at the back, and they all kind of felt together a little bit once it's been blocked and worn for a couple of times, and it just creates this really warm but very, very lightweight fabric. And yeah, it's one of my favourite yarns to work with. Really enjoy it. I have plans for a nice long cardigan with another colour that I've got here as well, but I'll show you that later. So yeah, this is my Dala sweater from Eleanor Mortensen. Oh, I should give you some details on this. 1 second. Okay, so this is, I'm making a size 5. I must be honest, this isn't the most size inclusive of patterns. It runs from about a 33 to a 55 inch bust, or an 85 to 140 centimetre bust, which isn't bad, but it's not great. It'd be nice if it did a couple more sizes. The gauge is 25 stitches by 34 rounds, and the recommended yarn is a sport weight. So the combination works really well. Nutiden is very, very flexible. You can use it to tick the box for a whole variety of different yarn weights, and it's really, really versatile. But I'm using a 3.5mm for the main body, and then a 3mm for the ribbing. And again, did I do a twisted rib? No, I didn't do a twisted rib here. It's a 2x2 rib. So far, I haven't made any modifications. I'm knitting it to pattern, and yeah, I'll let you know how I get on. Hopefully, I can resist the urge to knit on this constantly and put it down so I can do some of my other projects that I need to do. I have plans. I have plans. Okay, so that's that. Let's have some tea very quickly. I've treated myself to this year's selection of winter flavoured teas from Teekanne, which is a local tea company, German tea company. I think it's the factory rather than a factory, is just down the road near Dusseldorf, and they just have really, really nice teas. This one is a delicious marzipan flavoured one. It's really yummy. I do love all things cinnamon and marzipan, but there we go. Right, so my only other WIP at the moment is a ribbed hat. So I'll put up a picture here of what it will look like. This is a nice ribbed hat that I'm making for another family member. So this will go in the gift knit pile. It's so soft. It's more yarn from the company that I can't pronounce properly. Oh, and I can't find the thing. So this is Stone Washed Minerals in the colour Meadow, or Malachite Meadow, Meadow Malachite, Malachite Meadow, colour 902. And it's an acrylic cotton mix. So my sister is very allergic to animal fibres, any kind of animal fibres. So I tend to make things for her and for her kids using cotton or acrylic, or other plant-based yarns anyway. And this one is 72% cotton, 22% acrylic. It's 50 grams is 130 meters, which makes this a nice sport weight. And yeah, it's really, really, really soft. I've not used this before. I bought it when I went to Amsterdam earlier this year from a really, really nice little shop. I'll put the details here. I'll put a link down below. From a lovely lady who made the most incredible crochets, beautiful blankets decorating her shop. It was a really, really lovely place to go and visit, and I'll definitely go there again next time I'm in Amsterdam. So anyway, I bought 2 skeins of this, 2 balls of this, and yeah, it's knitting up really, really nicely. I had a small catastrophe, so I had a long bus ride ahead of me the other day, rail replacement service. Oh, worst 3 words in any language, right? And I was sat on the bus, knitting away, and my Chowgu cable broke. It broke away from the end. So that was the first bus I had to get, and I had a 20-minute wait in between the 2 different bus connections. So I sprinted, and if you know me, you know that I don't do that kind of nonsense very often, but I properly sprinted from the railway station where the rail replacement service was going from, up into the city in Mönchengladbach to go to ID, which is like Hobbycraft, to buy some DPNs so that I wouldn't have to sit on this 3-hour bus journey without any knitting. But yeah, it was my Chowgu twist cables. They broke, so I've just ordered a replacement, and it arrived yesterday. But that was a sticky moment. It's being stuck on public transport with no knitting. I mean, what do people do when they don't knit? Like, talk to people? So anyway, that's my other WIP that's on at the moment. And I do need to get on with some other gift knitting. I've promised my mum a winter doodle cowl for Christmas, and I really need to get started on that, and I want to get started on it. But other new shiny things keep attracting me. My dad calls it procrastiknitting, when you do other projects that you're not supposed to be working on. I love that, procrastiknitting. I don't know if he made that up or if he heard it somewhere else, because he often ends up watching podcasts with my mum. So maybe another podcaster said it. I don't know, let's give him the credit. Procrastinating. So that's my handbag project at the moment. So next up we have acquisitions, and I've already talked through 2 of them. I have another acquisition. It was the 3rd colour that came from Nutiden, and it's this. I mean, it's blowing out a little bit, and it doesn't really do it justice. God, I can't work out which way to move. Oh, I can't get over how beautiful this colour is. The camera isn't doing it justice. It's like a muted peacock. It's got greys and purples and turquoises and aquas and bits of grass. It's just... I mean, if you could have a turquoise with an underlying purple, that's what this is. It's just absolutely stunning. I'm so in love with this. Yeah, it's just not picking up the details as much as I would like. But it's a more vivid blue, definitely, in real life. I'm not sure what I'm going to make with this. I don't know. What do you think? Some kind of long cardigan. I was thinking Like a Cloud by Jorge Locatelli. I'm not sure. Or maybe something completely different. I don't know. Absolutely no idea. It needs to be something special because this is a really beautiful colour. But I don't know. It hasn't told me what it wants to be yet. When I saw the red that I showed you earlier, I knew instantly that needed to be little tiny horses. But this isn't speaking to me yet. But I know that it needs to be something airy and beautiful. Tell me what you're working on at the moment. I'd love to hear about it, because then maybe I'll get some inspiration of what to do with it. I think it needs to be a cardigan. I think it needs to be something floaty. So if you have any ideas, please do let me know. I'd love to hear about it. But I'm not sure. Maybe a shawl. I don't know. It's not telling me what it wants to be yet, but it's really, really, really beautiful. And as with all the nutiden, it just feels incredibly soft and light and airy and gorgeous. So yes, these are my acquisitions, and ooh, that would go very nicely as well. Maybe it could be, some kind of another Colourwork yoke, maybe a Jennifer Steingast one. I have quite a few of her patterns. Any ideas? Tell me what you're working on. Are you doing a Colourwork yoke or a lovely floaty cardigan at the moment? I don't know what to do with this. I do have some other colours of nutiden as well, so I could even go crazy. But that does look pretty together. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear about it. Okay. And that's it for acquisitions. Well, that's it. That's quite a lot of yarn. Nutiden, I think the price point is really, really good. For me, 900 grams of yarn cost, I think it was just over €70, which is not bad at all. Really not bad. And I can definitely get at least 3 projects out of that. And then combined with the other things that I've got, I think that's pretty good value for money. But yeah. So next I want to talk about future knitting plans, but first of all, the last episode, so episode 17 that I filmed in the UK, I wasn't in my normal setup and I was a little bit all over the place. It was a very busy couple of weeks and I didn't press record on one of the sections, and I wanted to show you this. This is a new to me project bag made by my brother. My brother is a lawyer. He teaches law now. He teaches at university. He works with the Innocence Project. He's a pretty amazing, special human being who also sews. He and his wife are really keen crafters. His wife, who's another university lecturer, but in the healthcare and business sector. They both sew. She knits, he embroiders. They're such a creative couple. It's really wonderful. So, yeah, my brother made me this. It's gorgeous, fully lined, has pockets, and you can see some yarny goodness in there already. Yeah, I was really blown away, but I wanted to show you this in my last episode, but I didn't press record during my knitting plan sections. That's why the episode was so short. And honestly, once I'd finished, because I was in my mum's workroom, I instantly packed everything away to make it tidy again, and I couldn't face getting everything out again to record another section. So I'm afraid you didn't get that last time, and I apologise for the slightly shorter episode. So the reason I'm showing this to you is because I have some yarn here. I have an urge to be colourful. I'm really enjoying the colour that I'm working with at the moment, but I have this really quite old now skein of yarn from Wool Me Once. This is the first special skein, I think, that I bought. This was hand dyed in Finland. I've had it for so long that the ball band has come apart as well. And it's the colourway Iris, and it's 75% merino, 25% nylon, 425 metres in 100 grams. So it's quite a skinny sock yarn. But I'm looking for some ideas and for some inspiration for what to do with this really pretty skein of yarn. So one of the really kind designers / podcasters who donated a pattern as a prize to one of my Mal winners, the lovely Judy from the Autumn Acorn, she's just released this lovely pattern. Let me pull the details of it up here. So these are the apple orchard socks, and they're just really, really super cute. I really like them. So I was wondering maybe I could do make a pair of them in this. Or Nancy Wheeler of the Knit Sip Happy podcast, she also really, really kindly donated a sock pattern to one of the other winners. And she's an amazing sock designer, very prolific. And she informed me that one of her DK sock patterns, the Njord ones, is going to be coming out soonish in a 4-ply. So I was going to cast on a pair of DK socks anyway, because I like them as house socks during the winter. But then when she told me that it was going to be coming out in 4-ply, I thought, well, maybe I can use this for those. I don't know what to do. So let me know what you think. Should I do the apple orchard socks or the Njord socks in 4-ply when that comes out? What do you think? I don't know. Or something entirely different. I really don't know. I did buy her Titty Gaga socks as well. Nancy Willis, the pattern for that, when that came out. And I still haven't made those. I love knitting socks, but I tend to gravitate towards just a basic rib or a vanilla sock, something like that, rather than a pattern sock. But doing that colour work it kind of gave me my sock mojo back a little bit. So, yeah, I'm not sure what to do about that. Let me know what you think in the comments. The other yarn that I have here, and I've shown you this before, it's been playing on my mind. This is from the WIP Yarn Company, and I just sent away a skein of his yarn that he really kindly donated as a prize for the Mal. And it really hurt my heart to send it away. It was so lovely. It was such a lovely colour. He's having a pop-up shop next weekend on the 25th and 26th of October in Sip and Knit in Brussels, which is a lovely yarn shop. I've been there a couple of times. If you go back to one of my previous episodes, I'll put the link up here. You'll see my footage from my visit there. It's such a lovely yarn shop. The owner is so kind, and yeah, so Ross from the WIP Yarn Company is doing a pop-up shop there next weekend. I'm very tempted to go and treat myself to some more yarn. But anyway, I want to cast on something with this, and I'm not sure what to do. This is enough to make something like a lento. This is a DK yarn. It's his Ard DK base, and it's 100 grams is 400 meters. I think he's mislabeled that. Yeah, 100 grams is 200 meters. I think he's accidentally mislabeled that one. 225 meters. Yeah, that sounds better. So this is enough to do a lento with contrast cuffs and so on. Or maybe it's enough to do a ranunculus. Or maybe I get another skein of the generic sweet reference. That's what this one's called. And do something else. But I have a real urge to cast on something with this. I really want to knit something with this. I bought it ages ago, several months ago, in Nijmegen at a craft fair, and I just fell in love with it. This I don't. Oh no, it's picking up quite well actually. This is such a saturated, beautiful colour. I really, really want to have this for the winter. I kind of also want to make a hat with this as well, because I can just see this, wearing it with my big black padded jacket. I've got this big quilted down thingamajiggy. I'm wearing a big squishy ribbed hat made of that. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Help me. What do I do? Can anybody think of a pattern that I can use this for? Or should I get another skein? I don't know what to do. In other knitting plans, as I said, I also would like to cast on some more gift knits. So I've got something to make for my mum, something to make for my dad, something to make for my mother-in-law, and then I think that's it for gift knitting, and also something for my partner, which I won't be able to show on here. I don't know. So I've got a few different gift knits to do, but they're fine. I'm going to do accessories for all of them. Well-chosen accessories, but I've got plenty of time because we're not even at the end of October yet. But I really want to make something with this. Okay, I think that's all that I want to talk about today in terms of yarn. So if that's what you're interested in, please feel free to finish watching now, and I will see you soon. I might put some footage in at the end of a trip to a local schloss, but I haven't been to any other yarn shops recently, nowhere to give you a tour of, because I've been really, really busy. But yeah, thank you for joining me, and thank you for sticking with me for however long this episode ends up being. So for those of you who are interested, my dad is recovering from his surgery really, really, really well. He had his first physio appointment last week. And that's really, really, really positive. I think he was very fortunate that when he did the injury, he already had quite a high level of fitness. He's a very active, very, very strong person, and living where they live in the middle of nowhere is kind of an essential requirement. There's always lots of things to do outside, unless you want to pay other people to do it. So, and that's definitely not something that they want to do. So yeah, his recovery is going really, really well, and he's doing really, really well. So thank you so much for everyone who passed on their best wishes. He was really touched by that, and was really grateful for people thinking of him. I've got to go back to the UK because my mum's got to have a small procedure in November. She doesn't really need me to be there, but I want to be there. I like to hang around just in case I'm needed, to cook things and vacuum things. But I'm also going back because my sister who lives in America, she lives near San Francisco, she's going to be going back for a few weeks to help out at home as well. She's got 3 boys, and 2 dogs and a husband and a full-time job. So I think she sees it as a bit of a holiday to go and hang out and live at my parents for a few weeks. So we're going to have a slight crossover. I'm going to go back a couple of days before she leaves. So I'm going to give her the biggest hug ever because I haven't seen her in nearly a year. So yeah, we don't get to see each other that often, unfortunately, living on different continents. So yeah, I'm really excited to see her. But other than that, life is just very, very busy at the moment. Adult stuff takes over, and hence why I'm filming on a Sunday instead of a Monday, because I've got a very, very busy week next week. But yeah, I will keep knitting and keep making irresponsible purchases, I think. And I'll let you know if I end up going to Brussels next weekend. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon. Stay safe and happy crafting. Bye.